What's up, guys? It's your girl Penny here, and today we are talking about how I took the police on a high-speed chase. This was back in April, and if you haven't watched my Living with Psychosis video, be sure to go check that out, because then this will all make sense. So if you have not seen that video, you should literally stop right now, go and check it out, and then come back to this so that you can better put the pieces together. I promise you everything I'm telling you will lead up to the high-speed chase, so just hold your horses, okay? Hold your horses. But anyway, I was at work, and I mentioned in my Living with Psychosis video how I had a supervisor who had it out for me and would mess with my mind all the time for quite literally no reason. So I'm at work this night, and I was running a break string. I was a table games dealer, so I had to go to 4 different tables. So every 20 minutes, I'm going to a different table and dealing, right? So my supervisor, the same supervisor, had set up for all of my tables to be full. And they were all referring to like killing me and following me whenever I left that night to, you know, unalive me basically. And so I'm kind of just fed up at this point. This had been going on for months. I'm like, you know, you're not going to kill me. It's not going to happen. So you can just jot that down. And whatever. So I end up getting off work, which I got off work early this night, which was super duper weird because I always was there until the very end because I never signed the early out list. I always stayed my whole entire shift. I'm taking into consideration everything that they were saying on my tables, and you know, they're going to be waiting for me, whatever. So I lived about an hour away from where I worked. And I also drove a sports car. This will be important. I'm like, okay, I can't take the regular way home, and I can't take the second most regular way home. So I took straight back roads for an hour straight, just in case they were actually going to do something and actually be waiting for me. They wouldn't find me because I took a completely different route. So I'm driving probably about 90 miles per hour the whole way home anyway, because at that point in time I was being followed, and that has nothing to do with my psychosis. It ended up being confirmed. We'll talk more about that on a later date. But I was being followed at that time by people that I worked with because they were trying to say that I was sleeping with one of my coworkers that I never touched. So they would follow me home just to see like if I was meeting up with this guy or doing weird stuff and whatever. I am taking this back route, and I'm going about 90 miles per hour, and I'm almost home. I'm literally probably about 15 minutes away from home. So I take my car out of sports mode, I slow down, I look over to my left, and I see the cops sitting like at a school, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, so it's pitch black outside, but I can see the cops over there. So I'm slowing down, I keep driving, right, and nobody's behind me. I'm like literally the only person on the road. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. So I turn at this light and I drive for probably about 5 minutes, and all of a sudden there's this car behind me, and it's going really, really fast, and they have really bright lights. And I'm like, okay, well, who's that behind me? And like I said, I was being followed at that time, so I automatically start speeding up. Car's not in sports mode yet. This car that's behind me, it feels like they're trying to like run me off the road, and I'm like, who the hell is this? So literally I hit sports mode. I'm like, I don't know what is going on, but I do know tonight is not the night that I'm gonna die. I still got shit to do tomorrow. I can't die tonight. So I put my car in sports mode. All of a sudden, lights come on. It's the cops. Oh shit. Okay, so again, it's pitch black outside. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm a young black woman. Black people are getting murdered for literally nothing by the police. I was actually scared. I was literally scared. So I drive until there's light, and I end up stopping in front of this KFC. Whenever I stop, there ends up being 2 cops in the car. So the cop that was in the front seat starts walking over to my front seat window, and the cop that's in the driver's seat is like out of the car, but he's not at my car yet. He's still back at the police car, and he's like, put the car in park. And I'm like, my car is in park. At this point, the second cop is at my front seat window. I'm trying to put my window down, but at a point in time, my window was broken and I had gotten it fixed. So it went down like extremely slow. And so as I'm putting the window down, the cop is like, can you put your window down any faster than that? And I was like, I'm trying. And so I'm still putting the window down. This is a long process, okay? So I'm still putting the window down, and the cop goes, well, you know what, actually, can you turn the car off? And I said, why? And he goes, bitch, sticks his hand inside my car and tries to hit the push to start button. Immediately, I throw my car in drive, hit sports mode, psh, gone. So let me tell you something real quick. When I decided to take the police on a high-speed chase, I was not trying to elude the police. I was trying to cause more of a scene. That's what I was trying to do. These two cops seemed shady. They seemed like they were a part of the people who were following me. I didn't feel safe. I was never trying to escape. Let me just make that clear. But anyway, so I immediately put the car in drive, put my car in sports mode, and I start going on this high-speed chase. Naturally, the cop was still like had his arm in my window, so he's like, you know, jerked back by how fast my car takes off, and they get behind me. I'm literally going 190. Like, this is not a joke. I'm going 190 down the street. I pull out my phone, so I have one hand on the wheel, other hand on my phone. I'm barely watching the road. Call my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm on a high-speed chase right now. And she's like, what? I said, I'm on a high-speed chase right now. And I start explaining the situation to her, and she's like, you have to pull over. That is a felony. And I was like, I can't. I don't feel safe. I can't. So I talked to my mom literally the whole time. She's trying to convince me to pull over. I'm like, not gonna happen, not gonna happen, not gonna happen, period, point blank. So at this point, it's a full-on like Grand Theft Auto high-speed chase. Literally, there are cops on both sides of the streets. They're like off in the alleys, like they're everywhere. At this point, there's like 15, 16 cops chasing me. So literally, I'm like, oh shit, like I'm on a freaking high-speed chase right now, but I'm so deep in it, I don't know how I'm gonna stop. Like, you know what I'm saying? And there was a couple times I almost lost control of the car, but I did not wreck. Nobody got hurt. But the cops are like trying so hard to catch me, but my car is so fast, they just can't. So I tell myself in my head, I'm like, okay, whenever I get to the city that I live in, I'm gonna stop at the first Sheetz. And for those of you who don't know what Sheetz is, it's like a gas station. So I was like, I'm gonna stop at the first Sheetz. This is what I'm telling myself, and this is what I'm telling my mom. So literally, I'm probably about 3 minutes away from the Sheetz, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, I think my tires are going flat. Literally, they threw out the strips to slow my car down. So I end up making it to the Sheetz. I pull up in the parking lot, immediately put my car in park, jump out, and I'm like, I was just scared. So the cops that were like initially chasing me are like right behind me, but they're just not fast enough to catch me. So they get out of the car, and the cop that's driving literally has a gun pointed at the center of my forehead, and I'm like, I was just scared. And like, you know, ducking down because I didn't want to die. Like, are you kidding? I was just trying to cause more of a scene, but I'm very aware of how dangerous the situation actually was and that I should be dead. So at this point, there's probably about 20 cops surrounding me, like 7 cop cars. I mean, it's a whole Grand Theft Auto episode. Like, I'm not even kidding. And one of the other cops says like, no. So the cop who had the gun ended up not pulling the trigger because of that beautiful angel that said, no, don't pull the trigger. So I end up getting arrested. They search my car, and they don't find anything because I'm not a criminal of any sort. And I end up going down to like, you know, where they like take your fingerprints and everything like that. And so the cops are asking me like, why did you run? And I was like, I was scared. I've been being followed. I didn't know if you guys were a part of them, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, just what I said. Like, what do you mean? Just what I said. So while I'm running my fingerprints, the cop starts asking me, the cop doing my fingerprints, which is the one who was in the front seat window, starts asking me, like, why did I feel like I was being followed? What kind of information did I have that someone would be following me? And blah, blah, blah. But the way he's asking me is like very suspicious. And I'm thinking, am I just suspicious of everybody, or is he being weird? You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna leave my personal theories out of it. I'm just gonna tell you nothing but the facts, okay? So they end up running my fingerprints, taking my mugshot, doing all that. So I'm sitting on this bench in the police station, and I'm handcuffed, obviously, because at this point, straight up, I'm a fugitive. So I'm handcuffed to this freaking bench, and the cop that was driving starts singing this song, and it's Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears. But this song is a song that would be played to bother me when I worked at the casino. I'm gonna have to tell this story very soon because it's not gonna make sense to you right now until I explain the casino completely, like 100%. The Living in Psychosis video was just like an overview, but I really got to get down into the nitty-gritty of the whole situation. So he starts singing that song, and he's playing the footage of the high-speed chase, but he's like editing things and like cutting out the part where the cop called me a bitch, and I'm like, oh, how dare him? And you know, and I know what he's doing because I edit videos, so I'm very, like, I can see, I'm not blind, whatever. So the other cop comes out, the one who was at my front seat window, he comes out from the back, and he's like, so what are we doing with her? Are we taking her to the county? And the cop that was driving is like, yeah, we're taking her to the county. And I'm like, please don't do that to me. And he was like, oh, you're going to the county. So we had to wait for the judge to set my bail. He ends up setting my bond at $10,000, and you know, you have to pay 10%, so I had to pay $1,000, which I had the money, but on a card. So how the freak am I gonna get it? Okay, so now I'm like, oh no, like I could possibly like seriously be going to jail. So they end up taking me to the car, and the cop that was in the front seat whenever the whole thing happened took me to the car, and he's like, wait, I think we have the wrong person, I'm sorry. And I'm like, well, why would he say that if they're not a part of the people who are following me? But I just didn't say anything. I just stayed quiet. At this point, I'm done talking. So I get down to the county. They put me in a holding cell. I'm in there for hours waiting for the judge to come and like do whatever they do at that point in time. And then I just cried the whole time, and these cops are showing everybody the footage of the high-speed chase, and they're like cracking up, and I'm literally bawling my eyes out because I'm like, I actually was scared. Like, I'm a young black woman, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, there was just a gun pointed at my head. Like, this is not my everyday life. So, like, I'm literally terrified, and you're laughing. Like, oh my gosh, I was livid. I was so livid, but there was nothing I could do about it. You know, it is what it is. I mean, I'm sure the footage is hilarious. I've never got to see it. But seriously, you know what I'm saying? So after the judge ends up coming, they basically recommend that I get some kind of mental health counseling, and then they transfer me over to the actual jail. And then but like in between then, I got my phone. So I called my boyfriend, my boyfriend and my mom. That's all I called, because somebody's coming to get me because I'm not going to the big house. Are you kidding? And so I'm like on the phone, I'm like, yeah, somebody got to come get me, whatever. I end up getting transferred over to the jail. They do my mug shots and whatever. They put me in a holding cell inside of the county prison. Literally, guys, that place is for dogs. Like, oh my gosh, it's so dirty. It's so dirty, and it stinks, and ew. Immediately they start treating you like a prisoner, and I'm like, wait, like, am I like a criminal right now? Like, what happened? as if I didn't just take the police on a high-speed chase, you know? So I had to take my shoes off. I had to do like the whole thing. And I'm like, this is not for me. Like, what is going on? So I get put into this little holding cell, and you know, they wait for someone to come in, bail you out, and it's a Friday, might I add. So they wait for somebody to come and bail you out, but if nobody comes, then you have to get processed through the system. And on the weekend, if nobody comes, you got to get processed, and then you got to sit there for the weekend. So I'm like, no, somebody got to get down here, and they got to get down here quick. Because one, I got to work tomorrow, and two, absolutely not. So I'm in this cell, literally, okay, so I'm 5'2". The metal plate, because it's not even a fucking bed, it's a metal plate. The metal plate is like this big. I literally have to sleep in the fetal position. All I did was cry and sleep and cry and sleep and cry and sleep, but mostly cry, and ask if I could get a phone call because somebody needs to get here now. Like, I'm not even playing. And yeah, like, it's literally a metal plate, no mattress, nothing. And nobody offered me food the whole time I was there. I was there for like 9 hours. Nobody ever offered me a bite to eat. I would have rejected it, but at least offer, like, dang. So I ended up seeing a couple people that I knew while I was in there, and then I ended up getting bailed out, and no jail for me. Just that couple of hours in those 2 holding cells and whatever. But I did end up going to court for that, so I'm going to be on house arrest for 6 months and then on parole for 2 years. But I'll take it over being dead somewhere. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. I'll take it over being on a t-shirt any day of the week. But that's it for me, your girl Penny. I'll see you guys in the next one.